Good morning and welcome once again to Father's Day here in the sanctuary at CSLDallas and also to our online ecosystem. Got a powerful program here this morning to explore both the idea and the experience of fatherhood. We find a common thread in many spiritual traditions that emphasizes the fatherly roles of protector, provider, educator, and role model. In Scripture, fathers are encouraged to embody the virtues of integrity, compassion, justice, and wisdom, ensuring the well-being and moral education of their children. In our American culture, we often speak of the founding fathers, whose wisdom and foresight gave birth to and continue to guide our grand experiment in self-governance. Later on in American history, the transcendentalist Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote this short essay on success. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the respect of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to give of oneself, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. These are all wonderful ideals that many of us, regardless of gender, aspire to, some of us achieve. And yet, we've all experienced that some people in positions of power and responsibility fail to even recognize these qualities. This morning, a few of our community members are going to share some of their own experience on the subjects of fathering and fatherhood. My ask of you this morning is to open your awareness to any message of healing, wisdom, insight, joyful remembrance, or recognition that may be channeled through the stories of the panelists this morning. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce our first panelist. He is a married father of 5. He has 3 sons, 15-year-old twins and an 18-year-old. He also has 2 stepdaughters, 21 and 24 years old. He is the third of 4 children himself. He asserts that he takes his parenting responsibilities as a journey of flexibility, learning, and growth while trying to have fun along the way. Malcolm Austin, come on down. Yeah. Yeah, right. Price is right. That's it, man. We're getting that vibe going. Have a seat. Yeah. So, Malcolm, thanks for being here. Is that on? Right at your chin.
Hello.
Gabriel? Hello. Lights on. That's good.
Yeah. Testing. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Here we are.
We got it. All right.
Gotcha.
Good. All right. Malcolm, what lessons have you learned so far in your parenting journey? Give us an example from your own experiences of being parented as well as with your own children.
I think one of the most important examples has been, more than anything, is to stop the cycle of abuse. It's like I've had...
Yes.
Thank you. When you parent, your only examples is how you were parented.
True.
So when I started to have kids, I wanted to be married, I wanted to have children.
Yes.
And, you have the desire to want to be a good parent. But then how you were parented and what kicks in is the examples that you've learned. And I told myself, probably when my oldest was 8 years old and my twins were about 5, I was starting to mimic the bad habits and the abuse of my parents. And fortunately, I had the presence of mind to say, hold on a second, this isn't right. I can't do this, this isn't right. If I truly love my kids,
Yes.
then why am I abusing them? Why am I doing this?
Right?
So I stuck myself, I considered several resources. One was personal therapy for myself to repair who I am as a man. Therapy to be a better parent. That was also important. And of course, you have life experiences of friends and family that also have the experience, that have also been through
Yes.
what you've been through. So they have advice and things to say to set you on the right track. And I think it's because I was able to recognize that it has made me a better parent. You know, I've always told myself, you know, when I get so angry and so upset with my kids, I tell myself, there has to be a better way. I can resolve this, there has to be a better way.
Yes.
Even though I don't see it in the moment, it's there.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Thanks, Malcolm.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. Our next panelist is known by Tommy, has Tommy by his family, and Dr. Bouldry by many. He is Professor Emeritus at Eastern Illinois University's College of Business and Applied Sciences, where he taught night and weekend classes for working adults for 20 years. He has fulfilled various leadership and mentorship roles in the business world and here at CSLDallas over the past 18 years. Dr. Tom Bouldry, come on down. Tom, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Great. So you've been studying and practicing science of mind for quite some time now. What new thoughts do you have this morning on Father's Day?
Got an hour?
Yeah.
So,
Up a little closer, sir. There you go.
if I asked all the fathers in the room to stand, I'm wondering who would stand. In the past, I would not, because I am not a father of children, right? So I've had this whole process of being on this panel has been very eye-opening and caused me to reflect and think about fathers in new ways. And I appreciate this opportunity to do that. The father of religious science, Ernest Holmes, says, if any words have power, then all words and thoughts have power. Fathers, fathering, and Father's Day. So in the past, some of these things were just words that had no meaning, but they now are having more meaning as I understand it from a different way. Clearly, fathering is not limited to one gender. Regardless of our gender, our age, our roles, we are engaged in fathering. So what if we understood that and took it seriously, how we are constantly creating our own lives, fathering our own lives, and being fathers to others? What are we unconsciously fathering? What if we all understood ourselves as being fathers of our words, our actions, our desires, our habits, and dispositions? With that beginning, thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you very much. All right. Our third panelist is a Kiwi American who met his wife, Randy, by chance 54 years ago in Waitangi, Bay of Islands, New Zealand. He grew up in a Kiwi Catholic family as the fifth of 12 children.
Oh, wow.
Carl Hunt, come on down. Ooh, careful. There you almost lost it there, Carl. Attaboy. Carl, thanks for being on our panel today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So Carl is one of 12 kids. What was your relationship like with your father?
Well,
my father was a colorful character. He was one of 7 sons and 3 sisters. And he decided when he was, after he got married, had 3, 4 children, he decided to move from Wellington, which is a city, up to Hiroquino and bought a farm and decided to be a farmer. And so that's where I was born. And then after he did that for a while, he moved to Hastings and became an insurance salesman and sold to the farmers. So the thing about that was so interesting is that my father was so resilient. And I got that from him, that resiliency to no matter what, just to go for it. And so he would do Dale Carnegie courses, and in the morning to psych himself up to go out to sell to the farmers, he would stand in front of the mirror and he would say, "I feel happy, I feel healthy, I feel terrific." We thought Dad was crazy, but Dad was sold a lot of life insurance because of that reason. He was so enthusiastic, and he looking back, Dad's been gone 25 years, and he struggled with alcohol for quite a few years and eventually became sober. And that was something that I got from him, was not to go that pathway, not to abuse alcohol. So that was a good thing. He was a proud father. When we go to church, we went to the Catholic Church, and because there were so many of us, when we get there a bit late, and Dad marches right up to the front, and we'd fill the front 2 rows. Here comes the Hunt Circus, people would say that. And he was so proud of us. He was proud. I'd tell him, I'd say, "Dad, how did you do it? I mean, did you ever say to yourself, like one time, like, hey, when you got to say 7 kids, maybe this is a good time to stop?" He said, no, your mother and I decided we wanted a big family. And so, that was really, and I asked him, the other thing that he really taught me, when I asked him, "Dad, how do you get through some of the stuff some of the challenges you faced?" He said, "Faith, son. You got to have faith. If you have the faith, you'll get there." He also had a great sense of humor. He was a really colorful character. He'd tell all kinds of stories, and so thank you, Dad, on this Father's Day. Thank you for what you provided for me and for my brothers and sisters, because at the end of the day, we're a loving family and care about each other and love each other, and that love will carry us through. I'm so grateful. If it hadn't been for my father taking a risk, moving to the Bay of Islands and buying a fish shop and putting me in charge, I wouldn't have met Randy, my wife, American girl, my wife. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you, Carl. All right, our next panelist embodies numerous roles: a mother, stepmother, sister, aunt, caregiver, leader, and lover. She views masculinity as a vital component to both physical and spiritual aspects of life. She asserts that she possesses more masculine energy than feminine energy. Dawn Deborah Efpa. She's already here. Dawn, thanks for joining us today. All right. Dawn, share with us why you believe you possess a greater amount of masculine energy than feminine energy.
I am glad that creation created or gave each human being the divine feminine energy and divine male energy. The divine feminine energy is intuition, creativity, compassion, empathy, and nurturing. And the divine male energy, their peers, they are inner strength and resilience, assertiveness and leadership, critical thinking and problem solving, courage and risk-taking, physical activity and body language, protection and safety, responsibility and discipline. Now, these qualities helped me through my life. When I had my challenges, I was able to step forward and conquer. I look back on my life and I see these qualities, these male qualities inside of me. And I remember my lover keep telling me, Dawn, you are a female. You step in the female role. So when I am with my lover, I have to remember I am So I'm grateful that all of us are given the female qualities and the male qualities. Let's use it to our benefit.
Yes. Thank you, Don. Our final panelist today is a father of 3 grown and fully launched daughters and grandfather of 5 granddaughters and a new grandson. At only a year old, this panelist's family was upset by divorce. He and his older brother were separated. His brother Kemp grew up with his father, while he remained with his mom, visiting his dad only once a month. I'd also like to thank him for being the father of this presentation today, putting it all together. Jeff Fritz, come on down. All right, Jeff, thanks for being here today. In becoming a father yourself, who did you study to improve your skills and temperament?
If you all don't mind, I'm going to stand. I know a lot of people over here. I want them to see me too. So you don't always get what you want, but you do get what you need. And so I was 27 when my first child was born, Allie, and I was in 1978. But what was interesting was up until then, all I really was doing was learning how to be a man. And so I have these very interesting memories that this panel has really helped me to rebirth about people that were important in my figuring out how to be a man. My first memory was I was 8. I grew up in the Catholic Church. I was educated in Catholic schools. And so there was this fella, his name was Lou the Barber. And Lou was a member of the Knights of Columbus in the Catholic Church. And my mom was single, and she's very good looking, and I think he was really trying to impress her. But he invited me to go fishing. And then he took me fishing again and again. And fishing is an interesting thing. I still love it today, but it teaches anyone who ever takes it up to be patient and to be persevering. And then I was 13, and there's another guy. His name was John. John was a black man who lived next door to us. He had a family, 3 children, his wife. He had really big forearms. Turns out he had looked like Popeye. turns out he had been in the Marines and he was a Golden Glove boxer. And at that moment in his life, he was a professional painter, house painter. And I don't know why he had any interest in me, but he decided that he was going to teach me how to box. So in our backyards, we had these little box backyards. He taught me how to box. And then he invited me to go to work for him. And I learned how to paint houses. And then after I'd work all week with him, we'd have some money, gave me my $40. We'd go to his favorite bar. I'm 13. And I would play poker with him and these other guys. And he taught me how to bluff. For those that don't know what bluffing is, you know when you see it. But anyway, John taught me how to take a hard hit and get back up. And what hard work was about. And lastly, just how to bluff. When I was 21, I started a correspondence back and forth with my dad. He lived in Baltimore, still where I grew up, and I was now far away from there. And anyway, we wrote each other weekly, and we did that for 10 years until he died. And those are precious letters. When I was going through his stuff, I found every letter I had ever written to him. And I've got all of his. And someday, when I'm old, I'm going to read them again. Lastly, I think the important thing that I'm sure of is that since you don't always get what you want, sometimes you do. My brother and I are closer today than we've ever been.
Yay. Thank you, Jeff. All right. I'm going to circle back to you, Malcolm, and ask the question, what is it like parenting older children in a blended family? What are some science of mind principles that have helped you along the way?
That's one of my more interesting questions. I got my little cheat sheet here. First of all, I have 3 boys, and I believe in signs.
Yeah.
So I took that as, well, God didn't want me to have girls. I said, okay, that's fine. So then I met this wonderful woman, Stephanie, who became my wife. We've known each other for about 5 years, been married for about 3 years. And she had 2 older girls, very intelligent, very independent, very headstrong. And, herein lied the challenge. I believe as adult women, as they are, you let them be as they may. Always know that if they're living in our house, then it's still our rules.
Sure.
So, okay, the basis of me trying to learn how to be a better parent is love. Because everything comes from love. The feeling of creation, first of all. Being able to create a new lifestyle and adjust to a new living dynamic. That was important. Spiritual beings is another aspect. We always know that we are spiritual beings. We are humans having a spiritual experience, and within that spiritual experience, we realize the importance of just all other things, the importance of freedom, the importance of heaven. Heaven is not just above us. Some may not agree, but it's also below. It's to the left. It's to the right. It's in front, and it's behind. And I know many of us here know that we can create heaven on earth.
Yes.
We don't have to die to get there.
True.
So that was important, is to create a more compatible, a more loving situation within the household. And that kind of leads me to like eternal life. So if we are spiritual beings, then we don't die, we live on forever. You know, when we die, yeah, we let go of our physical selves. And our physical selves returns to the earth from where it began. And our spirituality lives on. So, you know, we are, like I said, we're not up there or down there. We are all around.
All around.
Yeah, and at this point, the oldest daughter, who's 24, she does not live with us. And the younger one, who's 21, is getting ready to move out. So, but you know, wherever they live, you know, we still have that bond, and we are still a family.
Great. That's awesome.
And we still manage to stay connected, even though we have our busy lives.
Sure.
And you know, we have events, and they have their schooling, their college work that kind of takes them in the direction that they need to be. But yeah, we always remember that we are one as a family.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Tom, any new thoughts come up for you?
Of course. Can you hear me? Yes. So one of the things is revisiting perhaps old thoughts and revising some of our old thoughts. And this whole process has reminded me that I have had many, many fathers and the different ways that I have been engaged in fathering others. So I think about, and I could talk long about the different ways that people have planted seeds of possibilities. I like that thought. Seeds of possibilities is one aspect of fathering that I had not considered much before. And they have been guides by my side at different times, displayed and shared their wisdom, discernment, encouraged me. And there are different forms of fathering that show up in my life. One was a high school teacher who said I would be a good teacher. Not in my wildest dreams I have ever thought about that. No one in my life had ever gone to college. But this particular teacher, because college was a foreign concept for me. I didn't have any idea what it was. He took me to 3 colleges in Illinois. I enrolled in one, even though I had low ACT scores, etc. I had no idea exactly what I was doing and what was going to happen, but I went there because of his guidance and his fathering. So the idea of fathering is sort of expanded and enlarged. I also had a colleague of mine when I was teaching. She called me into her office one day and she said, "We need to have a come to Jesus conversation." Another way of fathering. And it was appropriate and it had lasting memory to me about that. So I'm just exploring and understanding all the different aspects of fathering. I appreciate that.
So, folks, I think we're about out of time on our agenda today. We have so much more to say, and we're going to respect your time as well. But how about a round of applause for the panelists here? Yeah, great. Everybody, push your chairs back. So, my ask is that whatever may have been channeled through these folks this morning that may have resonated with you, Go out this week and be it. Be what has resonated with you. Be the thing you want to see. Thanks for your time today.